Namaste and welcome to Shri and Kira Live. I am Shri Ramka.
And we are exploring the mysteries together. I am Kira Ra, and we are live today right here at tfrlive.com. Namaste. Hello, everyone. We are so grateful to be with you. We are also over at onenesstalkradio.com, where we are live streaming our video. We are also streaming our audio, and you can jump into the chat room. And of course, we are also live over at Facebook at Oneness Talk Radio and at YouTube at Oneness Talk Radio as well. And don't forget iHeart and all the other affiliates that explore the mysteries. And you want to talk about a moment to explore the mysteries. First of all, guys, wow. Here we are. This is it is. It's like, do you remember? It's like, wow. There is so much happening this month, and it's happening viscerally. You know, that there's so much visceral energy that's already here. And Shri and I have been so really with this energy of the month of November that we have been doing this in stages, kind of releasing all this energy. Now, the first thing is I forgot to tell you guys, hey, the call board is live. There are people already jumping in. But if you would like to get into the call board, 517-208-1500. Again, that is 517-208-1500. And you do get to listen to the show while you're holding. And of course,
we welcome you.
Your comments, your questions, and of course, many soul reading requests. And so, Shri, the three parts. Let's talk about right here at TFR Live and Oneness Talk Radio. We began this November conversation on Halloween Eve, which was Thursday evening. And if you have not connected with that show, go watch it in the archives. Go listen to it in the archives. It is a very important show because we first started talking about this Mercury Retrograde.
Yes.
Which began on Halloween.
And Halloween, there's so much fun and symbolism there because Halloween is about putting on a face, isn't it? A mask. And yet the month before us is about not having any masks. Well, actually the month behind us as well. It's when we are free from the mask, then we are radically authentic. Yeah. And radical means it isn't the common way of being. And so in the radical authenticity, we have a chance to fully be nourished by, embraced by, and benefited by the energies that are coming to us this November.
And to see them.
And to recognize
recognize them. And I want to jump right in. You're probably like, hey, Shri and Kira, what is going on for those of you that are watching us live streaming? What's that behind you? Okay, we've got a story to tell you. Just gave it away. My husband always blows the surprise. Okay, so for those of you that didn't see that, first and foremost, you see our little spiral here. Okay. This is we were sitting in the, on the couch in the river cottage, the Clinica Linda, our beautiful new, space that is on riverfront here at Tosa Blue Mountain. And as we were sitting there on November 1st, the November energy is a trinity, guys. It is a trinity of energies. And as I was sitting on the couch and our beautiful Bria Rose was across from me, who is now living here full time at Tosa Blue Mountain, our on-site guest services assistant and so much more. Mwah, we love you, Bria. And as she was sitting on the couch, I was like looking over her head and I suddenly looked at Shri and went, do you have your camera? Because I have to take this picture. So now, Shri, drum roll. Trishul, so move. Right? Check this out. Do you see this trishul? Is that a perfect trishul or what? And it's the only one in that pine tree. There were none else on the property. And I was literally sitting there after having just done a strong communion at the river where we are going to start offering pujas. And those of you who are going to be here in December, Shri and I will just be back from both India and Bhutan, and we will be doing our first official puja at the river. And as we were there, and I was feeling that presence and just sitting on the couch, literally, we're going to move away again. The trishul appeared as a reminder. This November energy is strong. It will come in many ways. Gaia is a part of it. Shri and I will be posting. It's already done. We just couldn't get it up before the show today. We will be posting the full official November Ascension energy forecast within a couple hours after the show ends, if you're watching us live. Go watch that show, because that trisul energy, and we're going to talk a little bit about it today, is what's going to guide you through the retrograde, where we looked at the mask on Halloween, October 31.
And these energies have really been growing throughout September and October, because these are months, yes. of releasing the veil or the dome of illusion about checking in with the 19-year cycle.
Right.
And it's important to remember that we are on a grand adventure together. This grand adventure is indeed, call it the trip of a lifetime, because what's going on right now, you have not seen prior, unless you're only looking at a piece of it. And what's going on right now is a cosmic opportunity. Each month has been building. Each month has been revealing more. And each month has been calling forward greater consciousness and supporting your self-ascension. So let's talk more about this one.
Well, and I think what we should talk about is that trisul of energies.
Yes.
Because remember that, and whether or not you see this month as a trisul, maybe you see it as a pyramid, maybe you see it as a holy trinity, whatever energy calls forward your highest sense of your divine nature and brings you the greatest joy, then that's how those three energies should reveal themselves to you. For me, the trisul is representative of so much. It is Shanti, Bhakti, Ananda. It is peace, love, joy. It is protection as it is service. And so putting that together and sharing the visions that have been coming through, let's just bring our hands to our heart and remember that the three energies that are guiding us all through this entire month and are really going to be dancing with all of us during this retrograde begin with respect. And in the pillar of that trisul, right, Sri and I are going to move our heads again. We see respect as this middle, as the support, kind of like the torch in the middle. However, just as you see that trisul pointing up, or just as you would see a pyramid pointing up, or however these energies are referring to you, the divine reflection is at play this month as well. So when we begin with this respect, it is an opportunity for us all to recognize what is happening in this density, anxiety, hysteria, because it really is a hysteria, guys. And this is why the multiple dimensional presence is the moment, right?
Yeah. And these three energies we began talking about last Thursday, we're going to continue to evolve this. And this understanding that when there is respect in its highest understanding, in its highest form, there's love. And where there is love, there's reverence. So it's almost like you have a little trisul within the trisul: respect, love, and reverence. With that energy, the other two energies join on either side.
It's like a lotus, right?
It creates a balance of opportunity. And that's the ascended gift coming forward this month. So the respect, the remembrance, and the recognition that those all form together into let's just say that one energy informs the other, and the other energy amplifies the other, and it becomes this robust opportunity to live a divine life.
So bring your hands to your heart right now. And Sri and I want to offer you an opportunity to touch those three energies. And so imagine that imagine like the spinal cord right? This pillar of light. This is the respect energy. What does that really mean? Well, in this moment in November, it says, I respect and love myself enough to relax into the reverent gift of my divine presence in harmony with the body. I want you to breathe that in, because that's the anchor. And then if you were to lift up your left hand, like I'm doing right now and Shri's doing right now, imagine that as a supporting energy, a supporting wave, and lift up your right hand. And notice that our hands are basically in between the high heart and the throat. It's kind of like we're holding that open. Well, why is that? And this is part of why I wore my Ave Sa pendant today. The high heart is what helps the ascended heart ignite. And so if we're holding our energies like this, And we're carrying the ascended frequency of respect as reverence right here in our spine. And in our left hand, we have another beautiful energy. And that is the second energy of this trinity. And that is that energy of remembrance. So remembrance is in the left hand right now. And I want you to visualize it as this pillar of light. Imagine yourself as the ultimate dissolution into the Shiva Linga of crystalline light. I remember when we were at Kedarnath, right? It was just pure crystalline light.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we step into the true nature of respect, we transmute into our crystalline pillar. And then we ignite remembrance. Only that remembrance is getting that same crystalline infusion. So it's the remembrance of our ascended presence without doubt, without judgment, without ego, without all those little small voices that seek to take us away from that. And then as we have this other beautiful hand here, it's the active presence of the recognition. I am the presence that respects the reverence of this divine body of form. Right? Start there. Then we bring up our left hand. I remember. I remember. And in the remembrance, we discover that from our 5th to 7th dimensional self, thereby feeling the compassion of our own divine presence, loving our body and offering us the opportunity to recognize that which has always been there. And when we bring our hands together in namaste, it all comes into service, doesn't it? Right? It's a unification. And so that's why, and there are many, 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 many little pebbles on the pathway this month, but you don't have to be walking. That's why this is a month to see your trishul, discover the way this is playing out, hold this presence, and literally soar. It's just such a soaring month, and you guys are making me so excited. I'm gonna have to put on more rose oil. I even had to wear a really rose color shirt. Everything's been rose today. It's Rose Day.
She's a flower.
Oh, and this is our local Ecuadorian roses. We're trying to talk to this company because this is like the best, purest oil, and I'm sending you. Oh my gosh, smell that, right? I am sending you guys the most gorgeous roses. And, here at Tosa Blue Mountain, we have so many roses growing that we've learned how to make malas, rosary beads out of rose petals. And so we're going to probably put on a little workshop for those of you that want to come and learn that with us.
Ecuador is one of its primary exports is roses.
Probably a lot of the roses you get are grown.
Along with bananas.
Right. And those roses are literally grown in this valley. I mean, like literally right here. So we are like roses.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful energy because the rose carries such a beauty, but also such a symbolism with the divine feminine.
Yes.
And this is another energy coming forward this
month. I know. It's wild.
So perhaps there's no coincidence that we were called to be with that beautiful aroma and vibration. So these three energies that are before us, this trishul, this trinity of respect, remembrance, and recognition, as I was sharing earlier, they kind of feed each other. When one is available, the other becomes available. It's very difficult to remember yourself as a divine being if there's no energy of loving respect.
Right?
Makes sense?
It's so true.
And once we are in that energy of loving respect, of that sincerity of presence, then the remembrance of our divinity and all divinity becomes more just readily available to you.
Yeah.
And that feeds your consciousness with the recognition that all is divine, the recognition that's playing forward through your experience at any one moment. Recognition is a gift of consciousness.
Is it not, right?
And
wow, I'm breathing. I'm trying to breathe
listening
a gift
to that. Of being alive.
Yes. and what's so fascinating is all of that is the final piece of that trinity this month, right? It's all about that respect, remembrance, but this recognition is the master in service.
Yes.
And this is, again, guys, we're only discussing the higher aspects of this month's energy. We will, in the second half of the show, talk about some of the other challenges that are coming through. And you want to make a note right now, tomorrow, noon, Pacific time, be with us because there's so much to share.
Yeah. This is a fun month because
That's a good word for it.
Well, it is because there's an unusual paradox at work this month. Typically, Mercury retrogrades create a certain sense of slugging through, of having to redo things or having to just...
Well, I think absolute paranoia. I think so many beings have put themselves into this, it's Mercury retrograde, I need to put my head under the covers, or God forbid, and don't do this and don't do that. What if instead it's about let's do this and let's do that, right?
Absolutely.
Why not?
And when we start talking about the energy of respect, to look again, to look more deeply, respect is not surfacey.
Yeah.
Respect takes in the wholeness of what is before you. So that's the deepest expression of respect.
Yeah, really.
And so we get this opportunity to cultivate that depth of recognition. Oh, there's the other one. To cultivate our consciousness this month in a way that is unique to this month.
And that's why we must also have the remembrance. Now, guys, as you probably are already experiencing, November it's like a tapestry. It's a very intricate weaving, and it's an art, and it is going to be a unique masterpiece for each being. And so as you relax into that, the one thing that I want you to really feel is this co-creative harmony. This is, and I'm loving that as I'm sharing this with you, the most beautiful birds are singing right outside our studio here. And we have been having profound bird experiences the past couple of days.
Yeah.
I mean, direct contact, phenomenal contact. And I really feel that as the respect of Gaia. You mentioned earlier, Shri, about the moon.
Yeah.
And please watch our video, the official forecast, the Ascension energy forecast for this month, which will be on YouTube at Official Shri and Kira by this afternoon. It's already done. We just have to upload and finish putting it up there. Gaia is talking through her relationship with the moon during this retrograde. And so this month has some very profound moments in it. And, we're coming right up to one of them, November 5th, because November 5th is the official culmination of what was the cycle within the cycle, the second cycle within the cycle of 2019. And that takes us all the way back to another moment. And so all of these combinations have come together. But there's two things to remember about this month. The full moon on the 12th is a moment where we all just kind of bow and say, thank you. And if we can walk into that moment with sincerity, love, and presence as our guide, it is a dreams come true reinsertion, re-up, reclamation of this experience. And I want to talk about, Shri, something that we talked about on our Mastery Mentorship ceremony this morning.
Okay.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, what's our Mastery Mentorship?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's our group of miracle makers that get
breathtaking
together.
community.
Once each month, we get together live and interact and discuss the energies, share the miracles, and we have a wonderful ceremony that's always informative, uplifting, and expanding.
Very.
And you can learn more about that through the Shri and Kira Mastery app, because your membership in the app is your admission to the monthly gathering.
So whether you have Apple or Android, any device, all formats, platforms worldwide, check out our app, download our app, simply titled Spiritual Mastery with Shri and Kira, or just put in Shri and Kira when you go to the App Store and it'll pull it up. Now, the reason I brought this up was this morning, we have very intimate, beautiful dialogue with our Mastery team members. And this morning it was brought up in there, Shri, about how I just forgot. It was Monica. It was Monica.
Yes. Yeah. Now that energy of forgetting this, I'm feeling the void myself.
No, I'm feeling all of you guys, and it's like this
It's
massive download energy. But this was really important. I wanted to talk about this.
well,
She's on the call board. So, hey, Monica,
Monica,
we're
refresh our
bringing you in
memory.
again because what you said was really important. Welcome, Earl. Oh, wait. I've unmuted you twice and it keeps going back. There we are. Hey, Monica, namaste, sweetheart. I'm so glad you're in the call board.
Hey, dear.
Okay, I guess she doesn't know that we picked. Okay, we're gonna hang up. Hang up, Sheree. There we go. Okay, Monica, we love you too. Thanks for having us on wherever you are. So, okay, we're just gonna go back.
It'll come to us in a
It
little
will come back
another minute or
because
two.
it was really important about this moment, Sheree. And I think what I'm demonstrating right now too is, oh, that's it, and that's exactly what I'm demonstrating. Got it. Anchoring the multiple portals of where you have actually slid in the timeline.
Yeah.
This is the other thing that's happening in November. And what I just was showing with you, this I'm between timelines will account for if you're having greater lapses of what just happened a moment ago. Now, the reason the November 12th moment is so important with the full moon is because, as we were sharing during our ceremony this morning, as you are becoming aware, I mean, really giving yourself the gift of going, wait a minute, not only have I said yes to this alternate timeline, this parallel experience, you're starting to see, okay, so this is what I look like. This is what I was doing. This was what was happening during this one. And many of you, and it's the reason October was so important to go back and look at that 19-year cycle, is because November is the moment to anchor in that parallel timeline, to really anchor rather than keep being pulled in and out and noticing things. And it's not that you haven't arrived in that timeline if you made that choice to shift, because some of you were already here and we're catching up with you, right? And some of you are catching up with us. That's what happens when you slide dimensions. But timelines within multiple dimensions. It's more than a single layered experience. But that's what November 12th is about. November 12th is about meeting that being that you are. And remember, we were envisioning our highest timeline. That was the July jump. Remember, we did the June core ignition. Yeah. And then in July, we did that quantum jump to the end, right? To the end of this year. Well, guess what, guys? This new moon in November at the end of the month, and I'm not going to say any more right now, but it is a density anxiety. It's like this. We are coming to a real epiphany moment. And this new moon will call forward that energy, and it's directly tied to the July moon. That's why I'm saying this is a massive, breathtaking moment to take November 12th in the full moon and anchor. Because when you do, you will be able to transit this month. And we haven't even begun to talk about what's coming on the density end. Remember, first half of the show, we're talking about what's coming right now. And then we're also sharing with you more of this energy of the trisual, the beautiful respect, remember, recognize.
And I want to just anchor an image of of what I'll be doing on November 12th, which is standing in celebratory presence. You know, the empowered state of being is a celebration because it's a recognition that I'm competent, I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm wise, I'm ready, let's go. You know, that's the empowered state of being. And that full moon is an amplification energy. Yeah. So consider this synergistic opportunity. Everything that you and I and all of us have been going through in these last several months is coming to a moment of declaration. And this is in part and parcel, and it also ties back to the 19-year cycle of pulling out that which you are choosing to continue forward with.
Exactly.
And so keep that one in mind. There is a wonderful opportunity ahead to stand in conscious presence and celebrate your empowerment with the amplification of that moon.
Now, All of this in detail is in our full November predictions, which is the November Ascension Energy Forecast, which will be posted up at official Sri and Kira at YouTube in about 2 to 3 hours after the show closes today. So check in with that. And then again, I just want to reiterate, join us live tomorrow at noon Pacific time, because there is still that much more to talk about. This is just one of those robust moments where everything has been coming together, and the opportunity to honestly learn how to anchor your multidimensional presence is calling you. October was very much that if not now, when, if not you, who moment. However, November is the choice that brings before you, and it's that energy in action, right? The recognition, that threefold energy, the respect that is the pillar of light that you are, right? The remembrance of yourself without the clutter of the illusion. So it has to be done outside of the illusion. That's what the yoga of self-ascension does. It takes you outside the illusion so that you remember the truth. And then the other side is what? The recognition. The recognition that when we bring our hands together in namaste, we become that in motion, in action, in the entire world. We are the ones we have been waiting for. And it is our moment to remember. And the only way we can do that is if we respect ourselves enough to ignite that pillar of light. We are at a moment of DNA restructuring. We're going to be talking a lot more about that tomorrow. And this DNA restructuring is happening on so many levels that Sri and I are still processing the 2020 Ascension symptoms. And we're not going to release that video till probably early February, because we also know that our trip to our coming trip to India is very much a part of it, as is our trip to Bhutan. And so it'll be after we get back and the New Year's that we will then release that.
There's a lot of focal points that are coming up.
There are. And hey, TFR, we know you're leaving for a few minutes, so we hope you'll be right back with us when that break ends.
You know, I wanted to speak a moment about this timeline experience, because oftentimes, like riding in a car, sometimes you don't know that you just passed an intersection, you know.
Until you're like through it going, this is not familiar.
And it's one of those kind of happy chuckles, because the timelines can be very close together. That is, the content of the experience can be very, very similar.
That's true.
With a few salient differences. And when we are jumping between these timelines, and you all are, because we are multidimensional beings, and our experience as a beingness is beyond the perspective of this one worldview. And as we lift, you're able to take in more and more on the perspective. So leaving that aside for a moment, I was just kind of smiling at that experience where both Kira and I were going, now, wait a minute, what was it we were about to share with you? And it took a moment to call that back in.
But this is what we were sharing earlier. Sri and I we are all angels, all of us. And this is why that 19-year cycle is so important. We are all in uncharted territory here. And our very clear guidance is to share it with you how we are also moving through this in real time. The experiences we're having, the things that are happening. And so I think that's really important to note, because, Sri and I first, and you started talking about this earlier in the show, Sri and I first started discussing radical authenticity in 2004 with the release of our book, Sacred Union, The Journey Home, The Path of Self-Ascension. And that book has just gone into its 5th printing.
And that book is really foundational, which is why people keep reading it, because it offers you a context and an inspiration for living an ascended life.
For true freedom.
And for being transparent and authentic. So one of the things I want to offer to you is that every one of us is going to have our own, call it ascension energy symptoms, the feedback that you're accelerating.
Exactly.
And one of the universal things to remember is that your own self-love, your own patience with yourself is the way that we move through this with ease.
Yeah.
When we get alarmed, concerned, or doubt ourselves, going, oh, wait a minute, something must be wrong, we are adding fuel to the separation energy, which then needs to be healed to come back into the flow of your ascension process. And it's very natural for the personality self to go, wait a minute, I'm having vision fluctuations, or I'm hearing things, and to start being concerned. And I'm not trying to say ignore it. I am wanting you to step into a place of self-trust, to go, this too is part of my experience as I lift. And if you feel you need some assistance or a third-party opinion, go get it.
And hey, speaking of all of that good stuff, hi, TFR Live.
Welcome
back. We are really glad you are here. And Shri, as you were sharing, and as I was connecting with the energies of November and what we're sharing, some of you may or may not remember that in October, we had a very beautiful divine director's sharing come through. And it's so powerful and so important that I actually printed, laminated it, and have it all over the house. It is on our homepage of our website right now. You will see it. And it's very clear that as we dive into the second half of this show today, and with the information that we're sharing, and I see a very full call board, we're going to be getting you guys in just a moment, so hang in there, that I clearly heard we needed to read this again. Yeah. And so are you able to read some of it, Shri? Okay, so let's bring our hands to our heart, and then you can stop whenever you want, and I'll finish or not. But this is so important because while this came in October, as you now are beginning to understand the energy of November, let's hear this again. Bring this in, breathe this in again, because we are all being so loved that it's like we're being walked through this blessing one breath at a time.
So let's take a moment and really be present with the gift of this wisdom. The divine directors speak through Kira Ra. Imagine a world where with every breath and in every moment, you only saw each being as the highest potential of their being for this lifetime. Then notice you have already activated your star consciousness and have transcended the third dimension without the need for conscious thought. Now, what does your life look like? What are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you living? What do you look like? What are you wearing? How do you feel? Then notice that you are noticing and have already activated the lift from the fifth dimension into the seventh. Here you are floating and aware that you are, without any judgment, melted into a sea of compassionate lift. From the fifth dimensional highway of experience, you have arrived at the seventh dimensional gateway. Discovering that a door does not exist, for you can only open this experience through the release of judgment and the recognition of the divine perfection, of the weaving of the energies through the complexity of space and time and co-creation.
Here, the vastness of the journey unfolds, and there is a moment where your conscious breath calls you through the recognition that the body is not breathing. You are therefore called to instinctively pay attention to that which has just come forward. This is the moment of divine awareness and the opportunity to experience the vastness as a witnesser of the fifth dimension, witnessing itself as the seventh dimension. You arrive, again, as a witness, now fully choosing to enter the ninth dimension. For to say yes to this resurrected presence is to fully release all of the attachments, constraints, and needs of the third dimension, fully anchored in the compassion of the fifth dimension, supports staying in a body of form without decay for as long as the experience serves the compassion. Go deeper with this. Study this daily. Print this and share it freely. For all who are ready already are awakening. May they find their way, and may all anchor the compassion of this moment. and take a breath, because we published this last month when it arrived. And it has been on our website. And again, if you go to ShriNkira.com, it's right there on the homepage. You click on it, a PDF opens, download it, print it. I laminated it. I have it everywhere. But more than even last month, with the revelations that have come through for November, this was coded for this moment.
Yeah.
Go through and using the primer of the codes, which was a very special ensoulment that was delivered that kind of unlocked the more ascended presence of the original messages. If you read this one line at a time and you pay careful attention to the words that are in there, and then you watch our November Ascension video, it's going to blow your mind. It really is. It's going to make life a lot easier this month.
You know, we are all in a growing discernment, a growing revelation.
Oh my goodness,
and this
yes.
is so true for these divine revelations. They will reveal more as you bring your presence more fully to them.
So we are leaving this on the homepage, guys. Go get it, share it, help us get it out to more people, because I don't know, in this moment, it feels like it was actually meant for this month even more than last.
I enjoyed reconnecting.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And so speaking about reconnecting, hey, guys, we have so many of you sitting in the call board. We're going to go right here to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And, okay, we lost our ability to...
Slide that over there.
Okay. There we are. Okay.
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. Namaste.
You click New Jersey.
Oh, hold on. We are how about you do this for me? Because I'm really having a challenge. Yeah.
Here we go.
Hi, Fort Lauderdale. Namaste.
Namaste. This is Tanya. I am a business owner of Aqua Aura Spa and Wellness. And my uncle, who has been a Buddhist for so long and since I was a child, gave me your guys' numbers to get a mini reading, and his name is Gene Zephyr, and I'm in Florida. I'm opening my spa this week, so I'm into stones and energy work and healing, and I'm so happy to be on this call.
Well, what a blessing to meet you. And you know, your beloved Jean is one of our dearest beloveds, and he's coming with us to India and Bhutan, so we're going to be with him very shortly. And so I'm loving that energy into this experience right now. Now, my love, what's so fascinating to me is your timing. That in this moment of experience, you have brought forward this opening in a month of choice, in a month where Mercury is retrograde, giving us an opportunity to claim our power. And as I gaze at you and I gaze at your spa, there's two messages that come in. The first is to bow your head and remain humble. The second is to let go of that which seeks to be skeptical and open your heart to that which is bountiful. There is much around you with a greater sense of relaxed presence. Trust your flow, for it is being revealed. And thank you for what a beautiful thing you are. Namaste, my love.
Yes, namaste. Thank you so much.
Angel, many blessings. We love you, sweetheart. Namaste. Wow, my heart is so full. And I really want to honor Tanya, because there is a moment where when we jump into the fray, everything's in front of us. And especially if we're putting ourselves out there, we're launching something new, we're doing something new, we've taken off that mask. It's a delicate balance of the ego and the heart when we first do that. And so I just honor you all, because we understand that dance, and it is a master's walk.
Yeah, and to claim what you are about and be willing to share it. We respect that
very much. And speaking of willing to share, look at this beautiful group of beings. We're going to Canada. Is that where you're showing me?
It looks like
it looks like Saskatchewan. Namaste, Saskatchewan, Canada.
Hi there. This is Coco.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi. I just wanted to. Sorry, I'm getting emotional, but you guys have changed my life this year. I found you in March when I blew up my entire 3D life, a multi-million-dollar company, to stand in my gifts. And I found you guys, and I don't miss a single thing that you do. And I have now started a mentoring business, and I'm here to elevate the consciousness and change the world. And I just want to say thank you for what you have given me this year because you helped me remember who I truly am.
Oh.
So thank you. And maybe I could have a mini soul reading.
Well, first,
Yeah.
I'm just sending you blessings,
Thank
honey.
you, dear, for sharing.
Honestly, sweetheart.
Thank you.
No, this is the blessing, is it not? To say yes to
It
who
is.
you are. And that's the message that's coming in around you. I mean, I have tears in my eyes, and I'm holding you so deeply, and I'm already feeling the blessing of the people that are going to be working with you. By doing what you've done, you are going to help so many other beings achieve their dream. And that's why this all happened. And they're saying, get ready for the greatest blessing you have ever received, the recognition that your value and saying yes to you will assist so many others to do the same. And they're saying, take in a deep breath and respect the gift of you. Breathe into the remembrance of the truth of who you are and recognize this has already begun and is flourishing so beautifully. So thank you for helping all of us to remember that as well right now, my angel. I'm honored to be here with you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to make my way to you guys in 2020. So
Yay!
thank you from the bottom of my heart.
I am so
Much love,
excited.
dear.
So until we can hug you in person, we're hugging you right now. We love you,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
we dream about it daily. So thank you for all your work. Namaste.
You're welcome.
Much
Mwah.
love.
Namaste. Oh, Shri. I mean, how
Yeah.
about all of you, right? Respect, remembrance, recognize,
recognition,
right? Yeah. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Where are we going, Shri? We're going to,
Yeah,
where is that?
California.
It looks like
Oak-
Oakland,
might be
maybe? Oh, it
Oakland.
might be Oakland. Hey, Oakland, California. Namaste.
And
Okay.
not there.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to go to Kansas City, Shri.
Okay, let's do that.
Kansas City, here I come. Hey, Kansas City, namaste.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi.
Namaste. Shireen Kura.
Hi, sweetheart.
Thanks for taking my call. I would like to get a mini soul reading. I need to know if I am going to be able to find a place to live.
Wow. Well, first of all, sweetheart, when you asked me that question, it almost took my breath away. And so the first thing I want to share with you is that you have this team around you that is saying, breathe more and trust more. That you're in this moment where you're split. There's this part of you, and that's what I'm feeling right here. And it's like right here. It's in your lower throat to your upper heart. And there's this part of you that absolutely knows who you are and has really got this nailed, and you've got it there. And then there's this other part of you that is scared shit. And that part of you is trying to rule you right now. And that part of you is jumping forward and giving you, this is what we were talking about earlier, these small voices.
Yeah.
You need to go watch Thursday Night Soul Mirrors regarding that. So the message that this group wants you to hear is, the moment you let go of that, these little like voices, it's like I see you opening up. It's like a magazine, and I don't know that it's really in print, but it's like you're going to open it up, and there's going to be this. It's an ad, and it's going to like radiate to you, and it's going to be like, oh my God, why didn't I see that before? So will you find a place to live? Yes, not a problem. The reason that this is seeming to take longer than it should be is because it's about you finding the place you're supposed to live, not just finding a place to live. And all you need to do is flip that upside down and everything gets smooth again. So thank you for loving yourself enough. Respect, right? Remember, recognize. Thank you for being here today. I'm really glad you're here, honey. I love you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Namaste.
Sweetheart, namaste.
I'm just touched. It takes courage to ask.
Exactly.
It takes courage to say,
spiritual
offer
courage.
me perspective, be my mirror, give
right.
me, it also takes courage to act. And
yes.
that one of the things that we have been calling forward in our shows recently is to pay attention to those little voices inside, because there can be a little voice inside that, you could have all this momentum, and yet this one little voice says, I don't know. You know, the voice
and then
of doubt.
that voice gets louder. And that's part of that remembrance trap. And this is what we were going to talk about is that, and thank you for bringing it right here, right now, because I think this is a great time to talk about it. In the respect, remembrance, recognition, we've been spending this whole show talking about the ascended way that that's going to present this month, because honestly, that's probably why you're here. Yet I think it's important to understand that that respect and that remembrance and that recognition is going to have just as power-filled a month in density.
Yes. Remember that energy is applied to all.
Right.
And for all.
Right.
How it's received is through the lens or the level of consciousness of the recipient.
Exactly.
And so it's one of those things where when we're receiving the energy, if we are in density consciousness, this energy could actually amplify the separations, the fears, the anxiety of density, which is based upon fundamentally fear and the separation from the divine trust. So in density, then all kinds of things can be acting out. And, and so that's one of the things, and we'll chat about this more tomorrow, but it's one of the things that when density has anxiety, then guess what? It starts acting out in ways that can be abrupt or conflictual.
And what's going to be happening is that respect energy, the way that it's going to play out in density is going to be more of a demand. It's going to be more of a, you better respect me. It's going to be more of a command versus a reverence, relaxation. Think about that. When I know myself, Shri and I have been blessed to travel the world, and we have been to some places that I bow before. We live in a place that I bow before every day. Yeah. And what I notice is that our respect for this land, our respect for Gaia, automatically brings us to a reverent space. And that reverent space facilitates how we respond to that energy. That's the ascended presence of the respect energy that's happening for you right now this month. In density, it's going to be that, remember that heavy cement, right? I expect it, I demand it, and if you don't give it to me, there are ramifications. And so it's a means of control. And this means of control is going to play out amongst many beings in November that don't want to be controlled through that demand. Yeah. And that's going to lead to a remembrance concern, because the remembrance is going to be manipulated through that little small voice, the one that tells you to be skeptical, the one that tells you to judge, the one that tells you to be a troll or be fascinated with trolls or to whatever else, the one that tells you that, this is all BS or this is that, or there is no hope. That's the remembrance of the small voice. And Shri and I talked extensively about this during Soul Mirrors Thursday night. And so it's important to remember that as we come into this moment of respect and remembrance, that this remembrance can also be a self-guided trap. Mm-hmm. And then it brings you to the recognition. The new moon at the end of November will be the moment of recognition for many. It's a peak moment. It's a moment where that weaving is going to have a knot in it. And it's going to take a talented and experienced weaver to go in and go, oh, that's not a knot. That's a new design. And look, that's not a knot. That's how we're going to build this. That's going to be the ascended presence experience. And the density experience is going to be, that's a knot. I don't like it. Cut it out. Kill it, bomb it, do whatever I need to do to it because I don't want it there. And there will be zero ability to communicate. Now, here's where the sailing end of November will be. As Shri mentioned earlier, this is a month where feminine energy, the moon energy, will blissfully have its voice seen, heard, and expressed. And so the key is, are we expressing the divine feminine in all beings? And are we allowing that voice to be heard without a mask on, confident in respect of who it is? Or are we still playing by the old paradigm? The choice will reveal itself. This is a month of choice during a retrograde where a trinity of energies has come to support all in wherever their growth needs to take them. Because as Archangel Zadkiel has always said, some plants grow better in shade. Not all beings are here to ascend in this experience. Without those that are here to hold density, those of us that this is our cycle to do this would not have that contrast, that ability in a world of density, in a world of illusion.
Yeah, remember that every being has its own timing and its own time. Yeah, we got birds out there.
There's a bird, a very specific bird. I don't know this call, but it's like it's an affirmation of everything we're saying.
Like it wanted to come in.
I know. It's like, can I come in and join the party? We're like, yes, you can. I think it's at our door. It's beautiful. Do you hear it? Cheep, cheep. It's like cheep, 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 cheep. Anyway, I love it. I love it.
And so it's one of the things that happens over and over again is the ability to smile at the synchronicities.
Yeah.
Because you can find yourself sometimes in a density loop. And the moment you notice it, then you can choose continue it or not. You have an opportunity to step into something else.
And this is, again, remember, guys, leading up to that November 12th, the full moon. We are in the moment where, are you aware that you have really anchored in a parallel timeline? Are you aware of how things have shifted? Shri and I have physically shifted dramatically. The new pictures that will be coming out of both of us, reverse aging has become really easy to do. I've been like, I look in the mirror every day. I'm like, wow, not only physically, mentally, spiritually, the completion of the 19-year cycle. I feel like very much for me, it's like it's giving me back what I looked like at 40, because that's what seems to be happening. And the vitality in the past month, I've released how much now? 33 pounds?
Quite a bit.
Like 33 pounds are gone, just gone.
With
ease. And it's because we are each and I know what I have anchored in this time parallel is that this is the timeline where the being that is animating this form is going to be able to be more visible through this form, feeling safe enough to release any need for additional protection, thereby freeing this capacity to be. That was what I claimed in September at the time of my birthday, during that moment where we were taking off all of those veils and domes. And then in October, I really did look at my 19-year harvest, and it hit. And Shri and I talked about this, that we're very aware of what's different. And the moment you become aware of that, you break free of ever being pulled back out of it. And that's the blessing we're building to in this month. And that's why there's so much to share. That's why this has been a 4-part by the time we put up the official forecast later today at Official Shri and Kira at YouTube.
And it reminds me to remind you that oftentimes our habitual way of looking at things is to look at the content, to look at our bodies, to look at the people, to look at the things and the content of the flow of reality. Whereas when we begin to align more fully with the energy of the flow that is upon us, we normalize to a more authentic way of being.
Yeah.
And the word normalize is very interesting, because this is what Kira's been describing, is our bodies naturally shift to reflect the normalization.
Right.
And this is part and parcel with the parallel timelines. When we are able to call it change with ease, to reverse age, to release unneeded weight, to find more energy and clarity, to find more passion for your life and your mission. Those normalizations mean that we're lining up with the more authentic self, the more authentic timeline, because it all has to line up together, does it not?
And we have to know it. And that's really it. I mean, yes, it does. And we have to know it. And this is why little things like, we're going to move away again and show you if you're watching our video, little things like seeing a trishul just staring at you saying, pay attention. Literally within, the timing on that was incredible. And so as you move through this November experience with the retrograde right now, call in respect, call in remembrance. Call in recognition. What is that revealing to you? And then notice, we're coming right up here November 5th, guys. November 5th is the end of the second cycle within the cycle. of 2019. At the end of this month, the entire Ascension adjustment completes itself.
Yes.
We have been in an open moment. And so we are all catching our breath together. We are all moving into next levels. And we are all in uncharted territory with the blessing and the bonus, if we have chosen to receive it, of the wisdom of that 19-year cycle, integrated with our conscious awareness that we are indeed anchored in the timeline, in that parallel where our highest mission was served and completed. This is now. And so why not stay in the compassion of loving yourself enough? That's all it's going to take, right? You're the center. You are the respect. The more that you stay in the compassionate arms of your divine soul's nature and allow it, as I am doing ever more, to be front and center, to be that which is seen so that the body can relax into a second phase, the greater the presence will give us a rich opportunity in this world experience right now to transcend the mantra of self-ascension, as we've been talking about for quite a few weeks, right? And we transcend the mantra of self-ascension when we recognize that we have the opportunity to do more with our divine nature than we have ever done before. And so I want to, as we're coming to a close of the show today, I want to just remind us all of that as we bring our hand to our heart and as we claim, I am here, open your mind. This is the ascended version. So I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me, is the mantra of self-ascension. To take that into the active role of this trinity of energy, it begins with open your mind, expand your vision, ignite your heart, heal the world. Because together we are better.
And as we keep our attention on the divine energy, as we look at each being and see them in their highest expression for this lifetime, we are propagating a grand healing and a joyful upliftment. And we have a lot more to share about that as we come to Sri and Kira Live tomorrow at noon on official Sri and Kira YouTube channel. And until that moment, thank you for being with us. Thank you for trusting your life, and know that we love you.
Namaste.